Shah will now felicitate the Minister, please. Thank you, Mr. Shah, and I invite you to the podium now for your welcome address.
फोटो आगे लेना पड़ेगा जाके लाइट कम है यहाँ पे.
Good afternoon, everybody. Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Mumbai. Minister and Shri Janeshwar B. Patil, IIS, Zonal Development Commissioner, SEZ, Shri R.K. Mishra, Additional DGFT, Kirit Bansali, Nirav Bhai, and dignitaries over here, from the trade, media, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It is my distinct privilege to welcome you all to the 40th edition of IIJS Premier. Piyushji, we are really honored to have your gracious presence here today. At IIJS Premier, this year we have 2,100 exhibitors and more than 3,600 stalls. Already more than 50,000 people have registered, and we are expecting over a lot of international traders coming all over the world. There are 15 international delegations from 13 plus countries, including Cambodia, Iran, Japan, Malaysia, Nepal, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Turkey, United Kingdom, Uzbekistan. A strong Bangladesh delegation of 60 delegates got cancelled in the last minute, unfortunately. Sir, your relentless dedication and visionary leadership have resulted in signing of FTAs like India, UAE, SEPA, India, Australia, ACTA, India, EFTA, TEPA. It was on the insistence of Piyush Goyal, a series of meetings with stakeholders and industry leaders were done to take industry on board before finalizing the FTA. The India-UAE SEPA has resulted in a strong growth of 40% gem and jewelry exports to UAE. Sir, we are looking forward to the signing of India-UK, India-EU and India-Canada FTA in near future under your leadership, which will give exports big boost. We are also encouraged with your recognition, renegotiations of old FTAs with Asian countries, Korea and more. The industry is ready to conquer the world due to your foresight in organizing the industry through path-breaking measures like hallmarking and creating standards for all products. Your brainchild, the Bharat Ratnam, the Mega CFC in Silk Mumbai, will witness the technological transformation and leadership of Indian jewelry sector. The recent LGD research project at IIT Chennai is another step for achieving global leadership in making India's largest manufacturing center of lab-grown diamonds. Your effort in transforming India to be the largest trading hub of natural diamonds will happen based on two landmark announcements at the Union Budget, like the withdrawal of 2% equalization levy on online sales of rough diamonds and announcement of safe harbor rate for trading of rough diamonds by foreign mining companies at special notified zones. Your positive outlook in reintroducing the diamond import license will go a long way in increasing polished diamond exports in some very challenging times. Some of the other measures taken by your like digitization of certificates and licenses from DGFT to exporters and announcement of e-commerce policy are some of the path-breaking measures. Sir, your one landmark announcement of decreasing the import duty on gold, silver and platinum to 6% and 6.5% respectively has brought the loudest cheer from the gems and jewelry stakeholders. Big cheers for this. This will boost the business and employment from the sector by quantum levels. Our heartfelt gratitude to you and the vibrant union government for presenting this visionary budget. I, on behalf of the gem and jewelry industry, commit our active support to Viksit Bharat by 2047. The August call given by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, sir, our efforts are ongoing and I am confident our infrastructure projects like Jewelry Park in Mumbai, Gem Boost in Jaipur and developing gem and jewelry clusters across India will play a crucial role maintaining our leadership globally in the future as well. As we look forward to your continued guidance in navigating the current challenging business scenario faced by the diamond export sector, we are confident that under your leadership, the Indian gem and jewelry industry will continue to scale new heights and achieve greater global recognition. Thank you once again for gracing us today with your presence. The trade is eager to have an interactive session with you, sir.
Thank you, Vipul Bhai, for that address. And now, Piyush, we have some questions for you now from the industry, so I'm going to bring them one by one to you. First of all, industry बहुत खुश है कि import duty यहाँ पर कम हुई है. Of course, it's more than what they actually expected as well. They talked to us about saying that 2 to 4% is the kind of duty cut that they were anticipating, but a 9% cut is an absolute bonanza for them. It would be nice to know, understand on what really went back as a thought process. What was the vision for the cut in duty by that number?
Very good afternoon to all the wonderful people assembled here. Congratulations on a fantastic 40th IIJS exhibition. I wish all of you well in your business. We are enjoying the monsoon of Mumbai, Achi Mumbai. And we are starting off on a wonderful note with a number of demands of the industry being met. Kirit was just telling me, apart from the import duty cuts, we've had the equalization levy, whatever you mentioned about that. I'm not going to give any bhashan. This will be our...
We are talking. I will ask you, and there are questions.
We've also been able to sort out the problem of imported diamonds which come here for exhibition being sold without having to go back. I think that's somewhat safe harbor rates. That's also been resolved. Any other issue that the industry had? I come to answer. और कोई issue था क्या? There's this issue about gold and silver rates needing to come down. I think over a period of time, subsequent budgets, one after the other, kept on increasing gold and silver and platinum import duty rates to an extent where it became almost irrational. In a way, the incentive not to pay that duty, you know what I mean by that, became very high. Probably just flying down to Dubai and coming back. It worked very well if you even took a piece of jewelry and got it to India. And this was certainly hurting the interests of Indian industry, hurting job creation, hurting the very vibrant sector which we had developed over the years. I would say just developed, we had nursed over the years. There's a sector which has grown from thousands of years through the sheer hard work and very, very high level of intricate craftsmanship that we have seen. So we have seen coming out from Indian artisans. And therefore, it was felt that it's best that we bring it to a very, very reasonable level and make it affordable for the Indian consumers. शादी ब्याह का मौसम आ रहा है, अभी वापस त्योहार का दिन आ रहे हैं, शादी ब्याह के दिन आ रहे हैं, तो मंगलसूत्र भी सस्ता हो हमारे बहनों के लिए और आपके ट्रेड को, आपके इंडस्ट्री को भी एक गति मिले, तेज उत्साह से हम आगे बढ़ सके। तो छोटा मोटा टिंकरिंग करते 15 से 14, 12, 10, तो delta would have still remained very high, which would have not put an end to any wrong practices. So the idea was make it affordable, ensure that it's no more viable to look at any alternate means to bring gold. Everything comes through official channels. Ensure that the industry gets a leg up, particularly when discretionary spending in large parts of the developed world is down. I think the Indian domestic market has really outshone and is growing rapidly. So in a sense, the domestic market now will replace whatever we are losing because of the recessionary conditions in Europe, in America, in the developed world. And India, which is the world's fastest growing economy under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, should also be having the world's best gem and jewelry sector. That's what we want, and I think that's what all our friends here are achieving.
Mr. Goyal sir, not just for the industry, this has come as a very strong boost. They've been asking it for many years, but for consumers as well. As you said, festivities, wedding season, the monsoon has been good, so urban, rural, both of that demand will be positive as well. But you know, you've almost given everything that the industry asked for, and of course there's still a list. I'm sure Sabyasachi will be presenting it very time soon. But the other thing...
को भी 25 साल हो गए ना? Congratulations.
But एक चीज है, the industry is now slightly concerned, and even in hush-hush tones, they now seem to be discussing, even worrying that is there a higher GST coming up?
आप चिंता मत करो। चिंता में रह के कोई फायदा नहीं होता। उनसे पिक्चर का डायलॉग है वो अनिल कपूर का, बी पॉजिटिव, है ना? अच्छा, वेलकम। बी पॉजिटिव यार, आप लोग ये सेक्टर जिंदगी भर रोता रहा, कभी तो खुशियां भी मनाओ।
जब उनको खुशियां मिल रही हैं, उनको लग रहा है ऐसा नहीं उनके पीछे कुछ और आ रहा हो।
ऐसे आइडिया बुरा नहीं है, सोचना है। मैं अभी तक तो सोचा नहीं था, पर अभी मैं जाके विचार करेंगे निर्मला जी के साथ।
So the other problem that the industry really seems to be facing is about the G7 ban on rough diamonds. What is the conversation that the government is having with the regulators on this?
Friends, the G7 ban on Russian diamonds is a reality. I think many of us from the GJEPC has also been actively involved with the government in talking and negotiating with the G7 group of countries. Dr. Jaishankar, Rajiv Chandrasekhar and I, three of us also had extensive meetings both at the European Union and with the Belgian Prime Minister to work out an amicable solution. The industry is aware that the Modi government has been actively pursuing with the G7 leaders, heads of state. I have been actively pursuing with the trade ministers of the G7 countries. Very recently in Italy, we had the G7 group of trade ministers meeting. There also I had extensive discussions with all my counterparts, including the European Union Trade Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis. And we have not only launched a strong protest on the effort to move all the diamond checking to Antwerp, but have also successfully managed to get certain concessions. I think they've accepted grandfathering now. They have started the payments of all the old stuck-up consignments. They have deferred the implementation by 6-8 months until March of next year. I am continuing to work actively with them to see whether we can have a center in India, whether Mumbai or Surat could have a center, where the same thing that they want to do in Antwerp can be done. We are also working with De Beers and other affected parties to see whether in the Kimberley process itself, we could work out a mechanism to detect Russian diamonds and segregate them from diamonds which are allowed for trade. So there's a lot of action happening. Beyond March, I cannot, as of now, guarantee what will happen. But the reality is they don't even know how they are going to test this. There is no technical mechanism. There is no declared protocol as yet. So they are also, I think, shooting in the dark. But of course, should the G7 try to impose an irrational demand and force our industry to send all our diamonds first to Antwerp, which has a serious consequence on transparency, data protection, added costs to first move everything to Antwerp. We suspect very strongly, we have lodged this complaint also. India, and this is the first time, I'm sure all of you, many of you, Batsaliji and all are veterans in this field. Probably this is the first time the government of India is standing up to all the G7 superpowers and telling them that, look, if you're going to try and use a subterfuge to once again rekindle the Antwerp or the Belgium business, diamond business, we are not going to accept that. And if it should require any retaliation, we'll even consider any retaliation. Maybe we can have some G7 goods going to a remote part of India for testing before they are allowed to be sold in India. I've even considered that option. अगर हमारे डायमंड बेल्जियम जाएंगे तो हो सकता है कि उनका टेलीकॉम इक्विपमेंट जम्मू कश्मीर जाएगा टेस्टिंग के लिए, उसके बाद ही वो भारत में बेच पाएंगे.
That really sounds very good. So there's one more thing, and as Mr. Vipul Shah in his welcome address also mentioned, that FTAs like CEPA really drove growth for the Indian industry here. Are there more to the pipeline?
It's an ongoing process and many discussions are happening with different countries, with different group of countries. There's never a deadline to these FTAs. FTAs evolve over a period of time and can only be concluded once we have a fair and equitable and a balanced trading arrangement between the two parties. India today negotiates from a position of strength. Gone are the days where we were desperate for FTAs. Gone are the days where we made FTAs only with less developed countries or countries who are in the same development cycle as India. Today we are making FTAs also with developed countries. Today we are looking at expanding your opportunities in countries where they have high per capita incomes, high GDP values, and can actually spend money for Indian goods and services. So you saw the Australia FTA, where we've got nearly 100% access to all our goods at zero duty in Australia. Yet we have been able to protect all our agriculture, all our dairy, all the sensitive sectors from any influx of goods from the other side. Similarly, with the EFTA countries, with UAE, we've got very attractive terms which have helped us make the FTAs balanced. In Australia now, all the children who go for studies, they are guaranteed a work permit depending on the level of studies for 2 years, 3 years, sometimes even 4 years for postgraduate students. 4-year work permit is guaranteed, no discrimination to Indian students. Similarly, there was a double taxation in Australia to our IT exports, which they changed the law and they removed, which will help the IT sector probably gain a huge amount of competitiveness when they are bidding or working in Australia, and in the course of time saving them billions of dollars in terms of taxes that they would otherwise have had to pay in Australia. Similarly with the EFTA countries, and I think some of you may even examine the opportunity of good machinery coming from Switzerland or Norway, machinery manufacturing coming from there to India, so that we can have modern high quality machines being made in India. We can look at collaborations with Swiss companies. They have committed to invest $100 billion over the next 15 years in India and create 1 million jobs directly. It's on that condition that we've entered into an FTA. It's a binding condition. If they do not make that investment, we can start clawing back the benefits we have given to EFTA countries I was in Switzerland last month, and they are very serious about the $100 billion investment. So I think all of you should also look at opportunities to attract investment coming from the 4 EFTA countries, Switzerland, Norway, Liechtenstein and Iceland. They are committed. The ball is in our court whether we are willing to bring good technology and investments.
Mr. Goyal, we talked about on how the global markets are not so great right now, and we've seen those numbers decline as well. You've given a lot to the industry in this budget and otherwise, as we've just discussed about. So when it comes to a long-term plan, collaboration in the international markets, being competitive as well, what is your ask from the industry in sense of numbers?
I think it's an evolving situation with 2 wars going on, the crisis of recession in almost the entire developed world. They are facing pressures on discretionary spending. I wouldn't like to put a pressure on numbers, but I think what the industry needs to think is to look at greater degree of value add. The world today is not looking necessarily for high-cost products, which has a huge amount of gold or silver or platinum or other precious metals, pearls and gems and diamonds. They are looking for intricate work. I know that you can have something made of artificial materials which will look far more pretty and far more glamorous than something necessarily out of very expensive material. I think the industry should also start looking at the world markets from the perspective of getting a higher value vis-a-vis what you invest, but a greater value for your intricate designs, for your workmanship, for your artistic beauty, exquisite work that Indians are able to do. I think there will be a huge market for that. There will be a huge market for handmade jewelry. It's for us to evolve with the times. The Indian market, of course, is a big market for gold and diamond and all, and people there are more discerning in terms of the value for money, in terms of what is the content of 22 karat gold or content of diamonds or caratage of diamonds. Indian market is more focused on that, value for money. I think the developed world and the young children and the buyers in America and Europe, they are looking for beautiful designs. So I think the industry will have to probably evolve with times.
I think if you have some time, Mr. Goyal, you should look around and look at those designs. They have some amazing ones in the stalls around here. But I have one final question before we let our audience also ask you questions. We should open it? Should we open it then? Okay. Do we have any questions? We can take a couple of them. Yes, please. Can we pass the mics on?
साथ ही पार्शियलिटी करता है क्या आपकी इंडस्ट्री में?
Good afternoon, sir. Little bit of partiality is important. I get 5 minutes, not even 2 minutes with you. First of all, on behalf of Platinum Guild and the Platinum Jewelry industry, a big thank you for a very, very generous GT card. I do have one thing that I want to raise with you. I need your support. This is for our exports outside of SEZ. We need a duty drawback. So we don't have a tariff rate on platinum. So there is no duty drawback. There is a very, very vibrant domestic market. So there's a lot of manufacturing happening in the domestic market. They need access to export. Today, platinum price is really favorable. It's quite low. So there is, because of the price is very favorable. So there's demand in the US. We are just doing a program in the Middle East, Europe. So just to enable the domestic manufacturing to be able to export. Exports on platinum have grown. actually quite a lot. Even if it is a small base, it has shown a sharp increase. So this is our request.
Yes, we're taking all the questions and then he'll answer in one go.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister Goyal. Golden Dew is the...
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Nam Kim. I'm from Korea. And Golden Dew is the largest fine jewelry company in Korea. And we've been importing polished diamonds from India for more than 20 years. I'm working closely with the prominent exporters of Indian exporters, such as Rosy Blue and Gamandanan Diamonds. After India-Korea SEPA went into effect around 2010, we have been importing the polished diamonds from these Indian exporters at the India-Korea SEPA rate, based on the certificate of origin issued by the EIC. However, since last year, Korea Customs has stopped recognizing origin of these diamonds as Indian and refused to apply the SEPA rate. Their stated reasons for the refusal demonstrate the Korean government agency's lack of familiarity with accepted diamond industry practices throughout the world, including India. We are trying to resolve this issue from various angles with the cooperation of the Indian exporters, GJECP, and the Indian Embassy in Korea, but we would really appreciate the help and guidance of the Indian Ministry of Commerce to resolve this issue.
Thanks. Any more questions?
Hello. So, can I go? Yeah. So, sir, over here, we moved to IIJS, like recently, and we used to be in NSDL. IIJS slowly with the help of DC, GDC over here, we are streamlining things in SEEPs, but we still do have daily challenges. Now we are entering season, so one of the requests from all the manufacturers was that either we do a thorough check of all the scenarios that we need in IIJS, and they should be equal to or better than NSDL, or we switch back to NSDL till IIJS is stabilized. But entering season with the challenges we have will hamper exports. Okay, one more. Yeah, one more. So, like you know, sir, we've been waiting the SEZ Act, and if it comes now, it will be opportune because SEEPs really needs it. Just to highlight and in your mind again, $3.5 billion of exports. In answer to the value addition, SEEPs does have very high value addition. It is the future. Diamond studded jewelry, plain gold, all the studded jewelry, gemstone, everything. There's value addition. If the SEZ Act comes now, you have a whole bunch of manufacturers who are dying to get in and be part of the SEZ ecosystem. And third and not the least, I'll just take 1 minute. So, sir, like we work very hard on hallmarking, all of us, the whole industry together. And now, if you take thousands of exhibitors here, for a buyer, when he comes, everyone's 18 karat gold is 18 karat, everyone's 22 is 22, because that's hallmarking, right? There's standardization. One of our asks since many years, and we work very closely with you and the committees at that time, is standardization of diamonds. So today, everyone's G color is not the same, everyone's SI2 is not the same, because all the labs have a certain difference in their certification. So if the government would standardize under BIS, the diamond certification, then everyone's diamond quality also becomes same. So that would help the industry. For exports again.
We have a couple of questions more and then the Minister will answer. Last question.
नमस्कार। जेमेन ज्वेलरी इंडस्ट्री में हमने जो भी मांगा आपने दिया है उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं कलर स्टोन सिटी जयपुर से RM सिंह इंडिया से निर्मल बर्डिया। छोटी सी जो भी रूल्स है उसको थोड़ा सा अमेंडमेंट करना है। एक हैंड कैरी पार्सल हमारे पहले एक्सपोर्ट में कस्टम से लेके आते थे, आफ्टर कस्टम इंस्पेक्शन 2019 तक तो चालू था। अभी जयपुर से हैंड कैरी पार्सल नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, कोई टेक्निकल छोटे मोटे रीजन है, उसको दूर होना ईजी है। एक हमारा जो कलर स्टोन जेम स्टोन है उसको एसएनजे में जैसे डायमंड को ऐड किया है वैसे एसएनजे में ऐड कर दें तो हमारा कलर स्टोन की प्रॉब्लम भी सॉल्व हो जाएगी। एक प्रॉब्लम ये जो सेल्स के अंदर जो हमारे पुराने यूनिट्स हैं जो कई 5 साल 10 साल हो गए, कई आदमी रिटायर होना चाहते हैं, जैसे 10 साल बाद उसका लड़का नहीं है या कोई बिजनेस चेंज करना चाह रहा है, इमीडिएट वाले में नहीं, लेकिन 5 साल की लिमिट के बाद 10 साल की लिमिट के बाद सेल में यदि कोई प्रॉपर्टी ट्रांसफर करना चाहे जो कि 99 ईयर लीज की हमारे पास जमीन है उसको भी हम इजी वे में ट्रांसफर नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। उनका कहना है कि ये प्रॉपर्टी का बिजनेस बन जाएगा। मेरा सजेशन ये है कि 5 साल के बाद 10 साल के बाद कर ले तो उसमें क्या दिक्कत है। इन 10 साल बाद में मेरा बिजनेस चेंज करना चाह रहा हूँ, मेरे कोई करना चाह रहा हूँ, तो उसमें बहुत ही जरूरी है। जयपुर के अंदर कई फैक्ट्रियां इसलिए खाली बंद पड़ी है क्योंकि उन्होंने आगे वो काम को नहीं बढ़ाया, तो उसमें हमको बिजनेस उनका बढ़ेगा। थैंक यू सर।
Sir, can I say the question before? Sir, there is hello sir, I'm Shubhankar Sen from Central Gold and Diamonds. We are into exports of gold jewelry as well as retail. There are 3 points. One is that, like he said of hand carry from Calcutta is not yet started, so like Jaipur and Calcutta should be considered. So second point is that the way SEPA has been done with Middle East, Dubai, we could do with more countries in the Middle East, and Africa, sir, is one of the growing potential. So I think India should look at Africa as well. And so lastly, maybe it is more to do with the demand increase at the consumer level now that the duty is down. Now with all the rules and formalization of the industry, if any kind of EMIs that could be provided to the end consumer against purchase of jewelry, which will make things much more formal. So that would be really helping for the aspirational middle class to.
Thank you. Madam, I have noted your point. We will examine that. He has also flagged it off with the Finance Ministry. आप भी देखिए ना follow up करके काम भी resolve. Gentleman from Korea will, I have already instructed my officer to flag it off with the Korean counterparts and study the value addition norms and whether those norms are being met. And if they are being met and there is no condition of wholly obtained or country of the diamond being from India, which obviously was never there in the past and today. If it's an irrational decision by Korea, think of retaliating. See what we can stop their auto parts. Automatically within a few days we'll stop this part. Immediately they got conference में बात करना उनसे आ जाए। मंडे को वो मीटिंग बीसी करे और बोल दें उनको कि भाई I have instructions from our ministry to solve it in a week. Otherwise we are also passing orders that all your auto components will have to put into demurrage and we'll have to start inspecting anything and for its value addition and this. और क्या करें? That's the only way कई चीजें solve होती हैं. Rupa has worked with me. She knows that. There is the gentleman who, the third one was you, Colin. I think we can look at what you said. The SEZ Act is almost finalized. We'll try to quickly sort it out. I don't know whether we'll get the level of interest that you are showing. That will be good because now we are building up new buildings in seats. Next one, has it been occupied by everybody? So next two is also to be ready by October. Every time you change the date by 1 month. The rains were not expected 6 months ago. You penalize the contractor, this is not acceptable. Just for your information, SEEPS has completed 50 years and we are breaking down all those old buildings. And all those who are in seats are going to get fancy, modern, beautiful buildings designed by your own people. So अगर कुछ उसमें problem होगी तो कॉलिन और वो आरसी बाबा को पकड़ना मुझे नहीं पता. Neville और कॉलिन, Adil, उन लोगों को पकड़ना, पर जो आप लोगों ने मांगा वैसे बिल्डिंग बनाई. And now you have your common facilities center also, mega CFC. I must say I am very proud of your industry for imparting training to physically challenged young boys and girls. Deaf and dumb young boys and girls are receiving training free of charge from your industry through the efforts of your council, and we are planning to scale it up to 1,500. Today we have about 400 children, 300 children. We hope to scale it up to 1,500 children in the months to come. 1,500 children every year will be trained by your council, will be guaranteed a job by some of you, and will have a independent and decent life of their own thanks to the efforts of the council. I'm really, really very proud of you. We will sort out that problem of the auditorium on the 6th floor. Why does it take so long? कब तक 6th floor कब से यूज कर सकते हैं? आपके पास एक हफ्ता है, एक हफ्ते के बाद मुझे सुनना नहीं चाहिए. अभी इसने बोला इसको पकड़ो नहीं. भाई ये मोदी सरकार ऐसे ही काम करती है, हाथ के हाथ रिजॉल्व करती है चीजों को, कोई पेंडेंसी नहीं रहता है. और मोदी जी को पता चले कि हमने कुछ चीज पेंडिंग रख के डिले कर दिया तो हमारे लिए मुश्किल हो जाएगा जवाब देना. इनफैक्ट ये आपका G7 डायमंड इशू, ही कीप्स आस्किंग मी एवरी 1 मंथ और 45 डेज तो उसका प्रोग्रेस क्या है, क्या हो रहा है, क्या नहीं हो रहा है. आपसे ज्यादा उनको चिंता है. आपने तो कभी फोन करके पूछा भी नहीं क्या हो रहा है. एंड टू द लास्ट 2 points on Jaipur and Calcutta, we'll examine. I'm not sure, very clear about what is the technicalities. The duty drawback issue also somebody had raised. Similar to that, we'll try to examine these 2 or 3 issues you mentioned. As regards FTA with Africa, I broached the subject, but Africa wants to do an FTA for 54 countries, the entire African Union. India has certain concerns क्योंकि वो काफी बड़ा geography है, and in many of those markets we don't have too much of an interest in terms of our ability to get market share or export goods and services. So I have to be very cautious whether we can have a truly balanced FTA and how I can protect the Indian manufacturers, Indian industry, Indian jobs from an influx of goods coming in from other regions. So any FTA we do, we have to really look into the crystal gaze into the future and very carefully navigate it, so we don't land up shooting our foot in the process. So the effort is to ensure that we have a very organized future for your industry. We have had serious problems with some of the old FTAs with ASEAN, Japan, Korea. I mean, they were done in such a hurry that the interests of Indian industry was not always protected well. So these days, any FTA we do, as was mentioned earlier by one of you, we do a lot of extensive consultation with industry in every sector. And until industry is satisfied, we don't give up anything. And until industry is satisfied, we don't stop asking for concession. So it's a very consultative process, and that is why I don't think you would have heard any sector complain about the Australia FTA. You would have never heard anybody complain about the UAE FTA. You wouldn't have heard anybody complain about the EFTA FTA, but that's yet to be operationalized. But उसमें तो दे नहीं देना, because we're going to get a lot of investments coming to India and jobs being created. But we do hope that all of you will take the maximum benefit of FTAs. ऐसा नहीं हो जाए कि हम इतनी कश्मकश करें, इतनी मेहनत करें, दिन रात भर the midnight oil and create these new trading opportunities for you, new business opportunities. आप कोई कमी मत छोड़ना इसको एक्सप्लोर. आप सबने इतना बढ़िया शानदार प्रदर्शनी करी. आप सबको पुनः एक बार बहुत बहुत बधाई. अभी अभी मुझे पता चला कि जगह कम पड़ी है। 80,000 स्क्वायर मीटर की इस एग्जीबिशन से आप लोग संतुष्ट नहीं है। अगली बार आपको 2 मिलियन स्क्वायर मीटर 20 लाख स्क्वायर फुट 20 लाख स्क्वायर फुट की जगह चाहिए। अब मैं दिल्ली जाके इसके ऊपर भी काम करता हूँ कि कैसे आपको 20 लाख स्क्वायर फुट देंगे। एक आखिरी खुशखबरी देके मैं जा रहा हूँ, कोई और प्रश्न नहीं है। खुशखबरी के साथ इसको आज के इस बहुत बढ़िया बातचीत को खत्म करते हैं। एक डायमंड इम्प्रेस लाइसेंस का विषय भी शायद 2009 से बंद है। जब कांग्रेस की सरकार थी, ये वाजपेयी जी ने शुरू किया था 1999 में डायमंड इम्प्रेस लाइसेंस। 2009 में ये बंद किया गया। आप सबके को सुनकर आनंद होगा कि अगले हफ्ते होपफुली मंडे को विल बी रीइंट्रोड्यूसिंग द डायमंड इम्प्रेस लाइसेंस। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, Mr. Goyal. I think we have one final thing to do, and that is Mr. Kiran Bansali thanking it officially, closing the ceremony. We request you to please sit.
Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Raj Mahajan, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Shri Patil ji,